Welcome to What's Up Planets, Episode 2, with your host, Marty Palin. That is me, broadcasting out of Portland, Oregon. So, Jess, I've been thinking about how I can express the moon to everyone. Last episode, we went over the sun signs, and I used the building of a house as the analogy. But with the moon, it's not so cut and dry. The sun is the masculine side of us. It's the big, huge, glowing center of our universe that we need to survive. It's powerful. We focus on it the most. It is our ego. The sun is the yang. The moon is the yin. We need that balance. The Chinese philosophy of yin is dark, cold, wet, earth, water. Sounds like the moon to me.
Because earth and water are feminine elements, unlike fire and air, which are masculine, and the moon is all about your feminine side. In case you missed our first episode, it was all about the sun, and how your sun sign is actually just one of the signs that make up who you are. In this episode, we'll be talking about your moon sign, which is literally the astrological position of the moon at the exact moment you were born, and also about the astrological position of the moon today, and how that might be influencing you too.
The moon is the emotional side of you. It's the feminine part.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
The moon is just as important as the sun, but somehow it has been forgotten. I mean, it controls the tide. That is a big deal. Also, our lady time is synced with the moon. It has to be more than a correlation to say that the moon controls the emotional side of us. If the moon controls the tide, and we are made up of around 60% water, then I think it is safe to say the moon is influencing us. Now this is interesting. Think about someone who has their moon in Cancer. Cancer is home for the moon because the moon rules Cancer. I tell those lucky or unlucky individuals to watch when the moon is full because they might also feel bloated, which is the retention of water. I just told this information to someone who has their moon in Cancer, and she said, "It's so funny that you say that because during the last full moon, I couldn't put my wedding ring on." Magical. The sun is simple. The moon is mysterious. It's deep. It's dark. A full moon is when the sun's light is able to hit the maximum surface of the moon, and the earth is actually in between them. So the sun and the moon are on the opposite sides of us here on earth during a full moon. And with an astrological chart, it's the same. They're on opposite sides. That's how you can always tell the full moon's position. Think about where the sun is right now and count 6 signs or months ahead. So when the sun is in Capricorn, which is right now, January 1st, the full moon is in Cancer, the opposite sign. And the full moon just happens to be today. She must have known we were talking about her. So the new moon will be in the same sign as the sun. So this month, since the sun is in the position of Capricorn, the new moon will also be in Capricorn. We will have a new moon on January 16th. For your information. Now, a new moon is when the lovely moon is in between us and the sun. That is why she is dark, because she is hiding us from the sun, creating a shadow. She is being lit up on the other side. So at that time, the earth and moon are in the same astrological position, just looking at us, waiting for us to plant a seed. That is what the new moon is all about. What projects are you going to start? What is the new relationship you're going to nurture? Or what job do you want to begin? And then the moon waxes or gets bigger as it travels through its cycle around the earth until it is full again. and then you can see how that seed you planted has grown. And then it keeps cycling all the way back around, waning, getting smaller, and we are moving around the sun as well. So by the time the moon returns back to that position between us and the sun, it starts the new moon again, in another sun sign. Well, usually. What? There are 13 moon cycles and only 12 sun signs, so sometimes we have 2 new moons. Whoa! The second new moon is called the black moon. Or we could have 2 full moons in the span of 1 sun sign or month. The second full moon is called the blue moon.
Once in a blue moon.
How is that for some data? I told you, the moon is complex, and that's not even half of it. It's pretty cool to think of this relationship and be aware of it, and how lovely that we can all look at the moon in the sky at the same time, no matter where we are on Earth. We are always connected to her. So I thought I would write a poem to honor the moon and all its glory with each sign. Okay, here I go. When moon's in Aries, it may seem scary because of its huge drive. But heart is active and very attractive, reminding you it's alive.
Oh. Yikes.
When moon's in Taurus, you'll hear a chorus sing for chocolate and bed rest. Depend on comfort, cookies and giving, loving and being so steadfast. Moon in Gemini, most likely an alumni of a school for those feelings. Saying I feel is not an appeal for a brain with practical dealings. I like that one. When moon's in Cancer, the only answer is to keep an eye in the sky. This home has pattern, drama or disaster, a cycle with the pie. Now moon in Leo, he has a big feo, happy with qualityo. With friends or money, true integrity is all they really need so. Virgo detailed moon is hearing what's in tune. Getting things done is fun. With checklist in hand, you made it with one. Yes, they would notice that pun. Lovely Libra moon, the yin and yang swoon. Talk about the great harmony. Feelings are mutual with love so sensual, and checks and balances free. Moon in Scorpio, a love torpedo. Feels so good to get so deep. Should you ever cross feelings of the boss, you will be the one to weep. Sagittarius is also scariest. Notice how nothing really rhymes with that, but it works. Okay. Sagittarius is also scariest because the fire burns free. Moon sure likes to play, and that's what they say, a kid at heart so simply. Moon and Capricorn, always they feel torn, emotions don't come freely. Let's be practical on something magical, seriously not feely. Aquarius moon, like a crazy loon, in the air flying alien, into things so neat. A different heartbeat, such a humanitarian. When moon's in Pisces, the tide in the seas will reach every grain of sand. The big picture, with not much ego, can be hard to understand. What do you think, Jess? Nerdy enough? But for real, I want to explain the moon against the sun. If anyone knows the Sigmund Freud's structural model of the psyche, it's like your id, ego, and superego. In Freudian terms, the moon is like your id. It's so naturally you. It's the core. It's so deep ingrained in you that you don't even realize that it's there. It's actually really hard for people to come to terms with that and understand that part of them. It's the way that you feel mothered. It's the way that comforts you. So you look for that in other people and things around you because it's what you feel so deep inside of you. It's crazy because your partner ends up acting in a way that is this part of you, your moon sign, so that you feel nurtured. Imagine your partner cheats on you. The moon is the part of you that feels like you want to kill them. And then your ego or sun is like, maybe start with passive aggression. The superego is the society we are in that gives you the boundary by which you can express yourself. And the superego is like, don't even think about it. If you kill them or something, you would probably go to jail. There's consequences to how you really feel. I like to think of superego as your rising sign, how people see you. So let's say, for instance, your rising sign, the superego, is a fire. People would assume you would lash out if you found out you got cheated on. But your moon is actually how you feel first. The moon is like your heart. So that's the first thing that processes. So if you have a fire moon, you will want to lash out. A fire moon would want to fire back or run away, do something that's action oriented. An earth moon would be most caught off guard because they did not see it coming. They choose to be around someone or people or anything that is dependable and predictable, so it's really gonna hurt. And then a water moon is going to feel really deeply, and the truth about a water moon is they probably already have the intuition that it was going on to begin with. So they might even be prepared. But that's what's cool about a water moon is they're already feeling something before it actually happens. So an air moon would be like, okay, well, let's think about this. Cool, calm, collected about their emotions. They would be like, I want to have a conversation. I don't understand why you did. And then they would just want to process it. They would be more easy at kind of letting it go because they can process it a lot faster. So all of these things, your moon is your natural instincts of what you are first inclined to do. That subconscious id part of you that is hard to understand. It's just really deep in there. And so that's really where the core of everything of how you're going to react to the world is stemming from that part of you. Before the ego, before the superego steps in to be like, hold up, let's just evaluate this. So just to recap, a water moon would be Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. An earth moon would be Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. An air moon would be Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius. And then a fire moon would be Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius.
Go to whatsuplanets.com/myplanets to find your moon sign.
You know what? Since you read a poem, I'd like to read one too. This is a segment of a poem called Math, written by a close friend of mine, Jessica Lackritz. X equals Y. If Y could dismantle obstinate sound, an electric saw with dull and missing teeth in the hands of a man, unable to discern branches dead from alive until finally the green straw of life begins to show. As if math could catalog and account for each decision made, each emotion as it builds a wall around us or passes through us like a ghost. Is the moon a variable, triggering the water in our bodily oceans to shift, the numbers to invert, new probabilities formed? More importantly, are there any constants?
And now I'd like to introduce Steph and Steph, a segment including one or two ladies both named Steph, who have great insight on where the planets are currently. Today, we are lucky to have Stephanie Shea. She'll give a monthly forecast to help navigate you over the beginning of the new year. Stephanie Shea is the chief astrologer for janspiller.com, and she also runs cardinalfireastrology.com. All right, Steph, what's up, planets?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Shea, and I want to give a little overview for 2018. I'll start with January.
Great, lay it on us.
One good thing is that we won't spend all of January with Mercury in retrograde. In fact, it went direct already in December, but we will experience the shadow phase until about the 10th. So don't think you can just jump in with your New Year's resolutions on January 1st. We're still kind of in that shadow of Mercury retro. It's a good time to wrap things up.
Okay, so retrograde is when a planet looks like it is going backwards from Earth's point of view. It isn't really, it's just an illusion, but it throws off that planet's energy that it provides us. So Mercury is the most common to go retrograde because it cycles the sun more frequently. The shadow is the moment after the retrograde period. It's kind of like a menstrual cycle.
And our new moon will be, depending on your time zone, the 15th or the 16th of January. For the West Coast people, it's the 15th. And this is clear of the Mercury retro shadow, as it's going to be a Capricorn new moon. It's going to be ready to kick some butt and get some things done.
Yay!
And we really should get some things done in the first few months of 2018 because we are going to spend much of this year in one retrograde cycle or the other. Most years we get either Mars or Venus retrograde. But lucky us, this year we get to have Mars and Venus go retrograde in the same year.
Lucky us.
And then in between all that, we still have our regular 4 Mercury retrogrades of the year. So it's going to feel as if we are resolving the past a lot. And if you think about 2017, a lot of can of worms did get open and we had all this fire energy. So there is a lot to resolve. Much of the Mercury retrogrades of 2018 will be in the fire signs. So that makes sense because even though we're not experiencing the same intense fire energy of 2017, the 2018 Mercury retrogrades will help us resolve some of these actions that were begun during the fire intense filled 2017. Now, some other interesting planetary shifts is Saturn recently went into Capricorn.
Yeah.
That was in December. So we're spending all of 2018 with Saturn in a new sign. And you know the way Saturn goes, we're only getting a new sign every couple years, and it hasn't been in Capricorn for 29 years. It takes that long to go around. So this is a whole new era. It's going to feel maybe a little more serious. We're just coming out of Saturn and Sagittarius, which definitely got people to get serious, but it was really more about your values and your ideals. And with this Capricorn, it's going to kind of make you walk your talk. It's not just theoretical anymore. A lot of people get a little worried about Saturn and Capricorn because it can be sort of a strict energy, but what's really good about it is it's fair. If you've been putting in the work, you can reap a lot of rewards under Saturn and Capricorn. So it's going to get going, it's going to kick off if you are born under the sign of Capricorn or you have that strongly in your chart, depending when your birthday is. This could be a big year to work towards your long-term goals.
To elaborate a little more on Saturn, it moves around the sun every 29 years. So Saturn will be in Capricorn for about 2.5 years. So that's a big deal. It's a long time. Also, Saturn is the ruling planet for Capricorn, meaning it's in its home position. I also want to chime in about Jupiter and Scorpio. That came in October 10th. since it is relevant for everyone. Scorpio is about secrets, power, death, letting go, anything taboo, and a great visualization would be a phoenix rising above the ashes. Things have to die in order to be born. When you are born free and innocent. Then you collect debt, develop psychological burdens, and everything else that is developed on your dark side. This is all Scorpio. Everything is black and white. There's no gray. It's those things that weigh you down. But on the other side is freedom. Now, Jupiter is about expansion. Anything it touches, it expands. So imagine being in a dark car on a dark road. You turn your headlights on and see all your demons. That is Scorpio. Now, Jupiter is putting on your brights. There really isn't avoiding those parts of you or society or anything. For example, all the sex scandals being spotlit. The biggest issue is the power play. There's a lot of psychological damage being done. There's the victim and the victimizer. This is all Scorpio. People want to be free. We live to have peace, whatever that feels for each person. They now have the space to do it. And the whole Me Too movement and Black Lives Matter, all of these issues of power play between people is being spotlit. What we do with that, time will tell. Speaking of time, that is what Saturn rules. So if we are willing to do the work, these next 2.5 years are the opportunity. We have a good structure to do it. Along with Scorpio burning the house down, so to speak, and starting over, the crazy fires going on the West Coast are a prime example of letting go. People have been forced out of their homes, saying goodbye to their material possessions. Scorpio doesn't have mercy. But know that in times like this, because it is really hard, there is the opportunity to learn the hardest lesson. Jupiter in Scorpio is getting you ready to shed the burdens and find this freedom. Jupiter doesn't leave Scorpio until November 8th, 2018. I have a feeling it will go out with a big bang, considering that is when the sun is also in Scorpio. Or maybe it will secretly sneak out the back door, because that is more Scorpio style. Then Jupiter flies into Sagittarius, which is all about freedom and truth. Get my drift?
This has been episode 2 of What's Up Planets. We're happy to have featured music by Devada Dawn, Jamal Kramer, Bathing Bells, Austin Theremin, Miguel Lorenzo, and Robots of the Ancient World. To hear more from them, check out the notes for this episode at whatsuplanets.com.